Hi there, this is the video submission for the Tower Defense game for Ubisoft Next 2021. So right off the bat, we have the main menu here, and you can see we have the ability to load in different levels. We also have these debug buttons, which will just jump us right to the end screen, so we can take a look at what it looks like when you win or lose the game. But that's really just for showcasing. But yeah, so we have the ability to load in different levels, and the levels are constructed very easily in a text file, just a simple format, where you can make as many levels as you want. Just using ASCII symbols representing the different types of tiles. So let's go ahead and take a look at the different levels. So we load up level 1 here. Pretty simple layout. We'll check out level 2. This is what it looks like. Here's level 3. And here's level 4. And so on each of the levels, the enemies will spawn on the red tile. They'll move across the brown path here towards the green tile, which is the player base. And so obviously the goal of the player is to prevent the enemies from reaching that tile. We have a couple different types of enemies here. We have the yellow enemies, which are the basic ones, the green ones, which are faster, red, which are slower but do a bit more damage. Then we also have special enemies, like this type here. So this is the healer enemy, so anyone within its radius is going to get healed by it passively over time. We also have the ability to place turrets, of course, which we can do on these blue tiles here. So we can go ahead and place that down. And obviously we die because I wasn't really defending. So let's load up level 1 and take a look at it. So, of course, we can place some enemies, some towers, and we can see the radius around them, which shows where they're able to shoot. So we can place a couple towers right off the bat here. And we have a couple different reusable abilities. So we can go over here. For instance, we can heal our towers. I'll cancel that, though. We can just cause a burst of damage within that radius, or we can add a slow. So if I place this here, you'll see all the enemies are going to slow down within that circle for a few seconds, giving our towers a couple seconds to attack them. We have a couple more special enemies here. So you see this blue enemy is the EMP, and whenever one of our turrets is within its radius, it kind of gets disabled and spins out like that. We have the green enemies, which are the speed enemies, and so anyone within their radius is going to get a double speed boost. We have the yellow enemies. There's a lot going on right now, but you have the yellow enemies, which will actually shoot back at the player like they have. They're basically turrets. We're probably going to die. Yep. And we have the brown enemies, which have a bomb icon. And so whenever they are destroyed, they actually have a like splash damage, basically. So they're gonna hurt anyone within that radius. Yeah, and then we also have our permanent upgrades. So we can upgrade our turret radius, for instance, there. Build another turret by the day. We have increased fire rate as well, so now our turrets will shoot twice as fast. So these are permanent upgrades. Once you buy them, they're there forever. Our turrets are taking a lot of damage, so maybe we should increase their health and also give them a heal boost here. Let's heal some of them up. Let's give them tri-shots. Now they shoot 3 bullets at a time instead. Why not give them homing? There's gonna be a lot going on, but now the bullets will home in on their targets as well. We can give splash damage to our bullets, so they'll hit multiple enemies at once. We can half the build cost, so we can build a bunch of turrets really, really easily. And we can increase our turret damage. So now they're just going to absolutely tear apart the enemies now. And we're just going to go ahead and wait till this to finish. And we're about to see the boss enemy coming up here. So there's the boss, basically very slow, very strong, has a lot of a lot of health, a lot of damage, and so on. Let's build another tower and just try to take it down if we can at this point. And once we do, we will... Let's do some extra damage to ourselves here. And boom, there we go, we won. Fantastic. Thank you very much. We take a quick look through some of how the code works. So it's all built around an ECS. So we have a registry here. We're able to add components to entities, get the components back, and so on and so forth. All the components are created through an abstract class, and then it's all using polymorphism, where every component has an init and an update. And so we're able to make all these different components here, like health, enemy, and so on and so forth, where they override and inherit from the init and update, and then they can have their own methods and setters and getters and so on. And so basically every object in the game is just sort of configured using these different components, and there's a bunch of them here. And so the enemies themselves respond to this enemy factory, where basically we right here I have these enemy descriptors, which dictate like different values, like their strength, their speed, and so on. And then they're able to be created by layering different components together. So like all the enemies have transforms and sprites and colliders and so on. And then the special enemies get these additional like healer components and stuff like that attached to them. The level loading is done pretty simple. It's just basically loads in using the ASCII, as I was saying in the other part of the video. The projectiles are kind of built up in the same way as the enemies. So the projectiles by default all have, lifetimes, box colliders, and so on. But if the homing is a bit enabled, then they have a homing projectile component. If they have splash damage, then they have the radial damage component, and so on. And so, that's how everything's built up. It's just sort of one component at a time. Everything gets attached together. And it's also done through scenes as well. So we have the main game scene here, but we also have different types of scenes. So we have the main menu scene, which is here. And we also have the end screen scene as well. So able to just sort of load those using the scene manager, which again uses the templated loading function, kind of like the entities and so on. And so you're able to just sort of move back and forth. And that's just kind of a high-level overview of how it works. Thanks very much.